Hey folks, Landstryder here, and welcome to another episode on Future's Edge. I'm here with Dornall.
Hey.
And today we want to get right into doing that side that we talked about last episode. Might be a fairly short one, I'm not sure. The first time I've ever done Psy on camera. I've messed around with it a little bit off camera. First time I've messed with it, like, intentionally done it. Yeah, I think you guys know what I'm trying to say here. So, I guess I'm going to let you walk me through this like we usually do, since you put together this project just for me.
The first recipe you want to put together is going to be down at the very end on the right. Nope, that's not the first recipe, but okay.
Okay, right.
That one wants to go together first. That's going to be your CAD iron CAD assembly thing, or iron CAD something.
This thing right here. The Iron Cad Assembler. Gotta make one of these. And is that like... Wait, seems like that's not the right way to do this. Or am I thinking wrong? Nanotech? Yep, that's out of order.
Is it out of...
Yep.
I could have swore I had it right. Okay, maybe I had it in order already then. The first piece...
I was pretty sure that what you had on the left was the first thing we needed to make, but we need the electronics assembler.
Yeah, that first piece is going to be a piece that needs to go into the middle.
Okay.
And that should be the CAD assembler. Or the CAD itself, something like
CAD
that.
itself. Except we need the electronics assembler. There we go. We gotta make that first. Which
CAD
is...
assembler.
Yeah, but requires the electronics assembler.
Yep.
In the recipe of the CAD assembler. Now that we got that... Now that we got that... Oops. Now we can turn this quest in under Nanotech. Yeah. And get... Ooh, probably... don't we need the electronics assembler for the other thing too?
No.
Yeah, we do. We need a second electronics assembler for the spell programmer, which is also going to be something we have to have.
Oh, well, that's later down the line. I didn't get that far yet.
Yeah, well, that's actually before we can do anything else.
Well, let's see.
So we need the electronics assembler, which we're going to take from the quest.
You can actually do the iron CAD now.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, in quest-wise, I believe, quest-wise, both are open, so we can make another iron CAD assembler thing. So, hey, there's an iron CAD assembler thing for you. While you do that, I'm going to continue to try to put together this thing right here. Oh, actually, I do have to have the iron CAD assembly before I can do anything else. I'm going to need to make another revolver barrel.
I thought I was doing it the right way.
It's alright, man. We'll figure it out. It's the first time we've done this, in fact, so there's going to be a learning curve. We need this right here. That one now need a central processing unit. Okay, can you claim a central processing unit and give me that so that I don't have to... Thank you. So I don't have to make another one for this. Iron CAD assembly, that should count for our quest now. Nanotech. There we go, that's now complete. And I am going to select... For some reason I feel like the tier 2 processor should be the thing I'm selecting, but I am going to take the overclocked CAD core. Because that's going to allow me to upgrade my Iron CAD assembly without having to craft that. Which I don't think I even can craft that for a little bit of time. So, with the Iron CAD assembly thing, or the CAD assembler, actually, one of these labs is going to be our thing here. Which one? What view do I want? I want view of the bees? Yeah, no, I like this front one here. This one. A view of the farm. So this, yeah, you can see that I've marked it out a little bit on this level so I can see where my offices are going to be. So this will be our Psy office or whatever. We'll throw down our assembler here. We might rearrange things later on. But in order to get a CAD Assembler thing, we're going to go ahead and do this. That's going to give us... I'm not even going to add this yet because you normally wouldn't have access to that, so you would do this. You just assemble a CAD, and then you got to do something. Is it redstone or glowstone?
It says redstone.
Redstone. Then you throw some redstone on the ground. You shoot it with this. Ooh, hello. Thank you. Which turns it into sawdust.
Yes.
And it levels you up. So, a major thing... Okay, right here. C. Press C to use it. If you have a CAD, you can do things. But if you don't have a CAD in your inventory and you press C, you will open this thing right here. And as you can see, it's a video like, hey, you've played with Psy before. Do you want to load your previous thing here? You can see that I got up to level 6. But I'm going to say no, because I'm going to go through some of this with you guys. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you, but just kind of want to get you guys started with Psy. And then once I, basically... So there it goes. He put together his thing. That's going to give him... And you got to, like, fire it once. You get a level up. You just right-click. You might actually have to make some sawdust. I don't know.
Gotta get some redstone.
Okay. So let's check our quest real quick on what we're doing as far as nanotech here. So we made our sawdust. We can detect that.
Okay, so basically what we need to decide us for is we need to make 2 side gems and 2 side ingots.
Okay, well we can't make side gems until we get further along in Psy. You can't just make side gems from sawdust. Side gems are made by infusing... and this is the only things I know from... quest complete sawdust. These are only things I know from the little bit that I've played with it in the past. And to get side gems, you actually have to throw down a diamond, and you have to infuse it with a ability that I haven't learned yet. So we can't do that just yet. We have to actually get through some of the internal quests of the Psy. So, is it going to ask me this every time I open it? I hope not. So I want to go ahead and learn our first lesson. Let's learn our first lesson. The tutorial. There's actually 4 levels of tutorial here. Basically, to teach you to create an effective assembler. Wow, that's a lot of information there. You guys can read that on your own, because I basically know what to do. First of all, we're going to disassemble this back into our iron CAD assembly. We're going to be able to craft some other CAD stuff. CAD, where is that? So we've got a core that we selected from our quest. We are going to need a socket, and we are going to need a battery. You have to have all those in order to make your assembly work. So if we go back to looking at CAD stuff, we're going to need some kind of socket. So that's the most basic socket. We can't make that yet because we cannot make Psy ingots. So we're going to have to stick with the tier 1 most basic socket. We're also going to have to stick with the most basic battery because, again, anything higher is going to require metal, which we can't quite make yet. So there we go. But I do got a nice overclocked CAD core that I can add to my CAD. That might help us a little bit. There's a 5th slot here that you can add to your CAD assembly. So your CAD assembly has to have, first of all, you have to have the core of it, or the shell. You have to have a core, you have to have a battery, and you have to have some sockets, or a socket. Those are the minimum things to actually have a functioning casting device. So now that I have a fully proper casting device, I should be able to continue on with making a program. In order to do that, though, we're going to need to make the programmer, which we should be able to do now. Yeah, we got the sawdust.
Not knowing how Psy goes, I didn't know that we needed all this stuff. I only made what the first screen told me to make.
Oh, that's perfectly fine, man. I didn't know. I wouldn't expect you to know how to do this. Since this is a fairly new mod, I know you've never messed with it before, since I barely messed with it. So we're going to learn together. So first thing we got to do is we need to make this programmer, because we're going to need that. So I need a machine chassis, which I need, of course, 4 gears for or so. And let's make a machine chassis. And then we can do our spell programmer, because we took the assembler from the reward earlier, which is probably smart. So there we go. There's our programmer. Now this is the main block of the mod, in my opinion, because this is the one that's going to allow us to create programs. Before we can even worry about programs, though, I believe, let's check our quest. That should have completed a quest thing. It did. Could we have selected something? No, could not have. We can get another electronics assembler or CPU. I'm going to take the CPU this time. And now we need to make a program container. This is the next step here. We need to make a spell bullet. Really not hard to do. If we look at where Psi, we're already actually there. Spell bullet is just a piece of iron and a piece of dust. Gives us our first spell bullet. That's going to complete our quest. And here, yes, yeah, there we go. And we can select, hey, there's some more spell bullets, some projectile spell bullets, or some loot cast spell bullets. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to just take the basic ones because I'll be needing a few of those coming up real soon, because I want to have a few of them ready. They do not stack. Good to know. So the first thing I want to do is I got to make a program. And if I read through if I read through this menu, it's going to tell me somewhere in here that I need to use, and right down here at the bottom, you can see that this right here with a little bit of red highlight around it, I have to make a program that uses that trick. So to write a program, we open the CAD interface and we just click anywhere, and we can right click and it will bring up a list of all of the components that we know. Right now we only know 2 components. We know debug and caster. So basically we just need a debug in there. The debug needs a target. You can see right now this is not a runnable program because there's no target defined for this trick. So we need some kind of target. We're just going to say the caster is the target. Now we select that and click right there, and now it's accepting the caster as the target for this trick, and we have a valid spell. Now to write that spell to our CAD assistant device, simply click on, you see right now, you see the debug. I click that, it writes that to my spell bullet, debug. If it already had a spell in it, it would overwrite the spell that was currently in it. But now I can come back over to my assembler, throw my assembled CAD up in that slot, and then I can add a program to it. Take it back out, and now if I held C, you can see that out of the 4 programs that I can store in this, I have one available called debug, and right click, it gives me a little bit of information about myself, and it levels me up. So at that point, I'm going to continue on to the next tutorial level. I'm only going to do the first 4 tutorials with you guys, and then I think after that, we're going to cut it off, and I'm going to work with it off camera, and there's quite a lot to work with, and then after that, I'll just be showing you really cool tricks that I come up with and that I use on a regular basis, or anything that you guys want to see me tackle, you should ask about in the comments, and I'll see if I can't tackle it. But let's continue on with the tutorial. Tutorial level 2. You've following along with this, right?
No, I'm not. I don't have all the stuff to make what you're making, so I'm just listening.
Oh, you should totally.
I'll do it later.
Okay. Well, you should. Okay. Are you sure you don't? I don't know.
I'll do it later.
You should have all the stuff. You got the assistant, right? Yeah. All you need is some sawdust.
Yeah, well, I got some sawdust.
And then you make the components. Make yourself a core. All right. Hey, he doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to play with Sai. Yeah, obviously. It's all right. It's. I would say that it's more complicated than Steve's Factory Manager, for sure. So yeah, we're gonna be doing some for some crazy complex stuff. I don't think we're gonna get to the complex stuff today, but in the future I hopefully can show you some complex, insane stuff with this. Today we're just gonna work on the tutorial so you guys have a basic idea of what it is and what it does and what maybe you can do with it. Get a little bit of an idea. Thank you. More dust. So tutorial 2, it requires that I use a number, constant. So we can make constants. I have to click this to learn these two things, and I get also connectors. So I can come over here, and the thing that I have to use is the constant. So really I can just add it to this. If I say right there, constant number, it doesn't matter what number. We're going to go number 2 and change that to arrow. There we go. Why not? But this also, see, has an input for a number. So that makes a valid spell. Then I can, of course, remove this spell from there. Right click on there. It should update my spell. Put it back in here. Pull back out. Now when I click that, you can see that it added a number in front of the information. That's really all that it did in that circumstance, but those constants are going to be useful in a lot of other circumstances. And they're going to do different things depending on, you know, what you feed that constant into, what action or trick or whatever. So let's keep on moving right along. So tutorial number 3, we need to add some motion to something. Let's learn about that. So at this point, we can start affecting things in the world by let's remove our debug here. We're going to switch that over to add motion. Add motion is going to be, so we need a direction and a target and a speed. So we'll say the speed is going to be 2. The target is going to be our caster. We already have that right there. Now all we need is a direction. Now to get a direction, we're going to need some kind of a ray cast or something like that. Oh, how about the direction that the entity is looking? The entity that we are going to be using is going to be our caster. So the direction that the caster is looking is going to be the direction that we move. So that's easy enough. That is a valid spell. So now we can rename this. We're going to call this move. Seems appropriate, right? And we can put that on a different spell bullet. I'm going to add a new spell bullet to our assembly. And now, if we activate the assembly, hold the C button, we can select between our spells. We have debug and move. When I select move and cast it, you can see push me forward just a little bit. And I leveled up. Got some more side juice or whatever. Mana. I don't know what that bar is over to the side, but that is your psi power. As you level up, you get more of it. Different complexities of spells and stuff like that take different amounts of it. If your spell uses more than you have, you make up the difference in life, and it is possible to kill yourself with the casting device if you make a too powerful spell and don't have enough power to cast it. So do be aware of that. So let's move on to the final tutorial before we wrap this all up. For today, anyway, the next thing we need to do, and this is one of the really awesome ones, is explode. So let's learn how to blow things up with psionic power. We're going to use our nanites to manipulate things in the world and blow it up. Something like that. So we got a bunch of complex things, and if we read through all of that, it's probably going to tell us about vector ray casts and things like that. And don't ask me to explain any of that right this minute, because I have to wrap my head around it first. You'll also notice over here that we've got all these numbers, and I will try to explain that better in a more advanced video in the future when we come back to doing some more complicated psi. But for the moment, we need to let's blow something up. So if we add a explode, and we say the position is going to be where I'm looking, right? So let's actually just remove that. Oh, wait, there we go. Select and delete. This has to have a power level, so we'll say power of 2. We don't want to overpower it right now. if we did, then it would potentially deal us damage. Now, as you see right here, potency is 140 out of 100. So potency is over the capacity of our casting device. So we're gonna have to drop that back down to 1. Ooh, not 21, 1. And that is within the power of our casting device. If we had a better device, we could use bigger explosion, but there we go. So we'll make this a little, oops, I did not mean to do that. We need to put that number back, make it 1. Now let's, why is it, I hate that. Let's change the name now. Boom, boom. Now, one more time. Constant. There we go. Get out of there. Add that to a new spell billet. Put that into our casting device. Now, one thing about this, the explosion on this, a power level of 1 explosion is extremely small. Really not going to be able to break much other than dirt. So in order to see this work, we're probably going to have to go out someplace where there's dirt. Because if I shot it in here, it really wouldn't break anything, because everything in here is kind of harder than dirt. So let's head over this way. Now, I'm just going to come over here and kind of fire at this hill. Not do anything. Far away. Oop. Spell error. Okay. Too far. Yeah, see, there's an error down there. Okay. Well, I managed to cast the spell, but it doesn't work. So, no big deal. No big deal. Oop, I need to go up 1 level. So here's an example of a spell that is, you know, it should work. It should do something, but not quite. So I think that I would need to rearrange this, but fortunately it is a valid spell. Even though it doesn't work, it is valid. So you can have a valid spell but not a functioning spell. So this is a good example of that, but it did fulfill the requirements for the quest. I'll have to write that later again, because I have written an explosion spell that does work. So I am actually pretty sure I know what I need to do. I need to change this to a vector ray class and da 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 da. We're not going to get into that complicated stuff today. Too much math for me. But that is the beginning of Psi. Yeah. Next is on to vectors. So here's the big vector lesson about how to get those vector ray casts that I've been talking about from time to time tonight. And yeah, we'll get all that worked out. So we're gonna make some cool spells off camera now, and when I talk about Psi next time, I'll actually might know what I'm talking about. Do you have anything to add or questions, Cornell?
No, it sounds good. I'm just waiting for us to get to the point where we can make our Psi metal.
Oh, Psi metal is... Let's actually take a quick look at that before we cut, because I'm going to cut and then... Well, actually, before we wrap up, I mean, take a quick look at that, because I am going to do that after we wrap up, because if you look here, I've got to get to level 10 in my Psi metal, and in Psi before I can make Psi metal, right? And then you said we have to have diamonds too, right?
We have to have 2 Psi gems and 2 Psi ingots.
The Psi ingots is all the way up at level 15, greater infusion. So until I can get to level 15, and like I said, I'm going to do all that off camera, so that at least next time I make a video about Psi stuff, I will know what I'm talking about better than today. And have some cool, really nifty tricks to show you with the Cad Assembler. Because this thing can do so many awesome things, like mining like large areas, building instant walls, crazy stuff, and on and on. And you could probably use it for a weapon. So, yeah, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. If you did, be sure and leave a like. Leave me a comment. Let me know what kind of Psi stuff that you want to see in the future. You know, what kind of spell do you think would be the most awesome spell for me to make? And don't forget to subscribe so you can be sure and catch upcoming episodes. And until next time, I will catch you later.
See y'all on the flip.